What's up, guys? My name is Devin, and I am the host of Let's Play Survivor. And in this video, I'll be going over my takeaways from the first episode of Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World. First thing I wanted to touch on was just how badass the opening sequence was. I really love how Australian Survivor, they go above and beyond in terms of the cinematography. Seeing JLP drive along the beach, Shawnee on the tarmac, seeing everybody come in the trucks. I just think it's a really cool way to see like the transition from like their real world and then them getting onto the beaches of Samoa, and really that's like the transition to the game. I really loved how Australian Survivor has always done that, and yeah, they continue to knock it out of the park. My second takeaway is Parvati is still our main character. Everywhere she goes, every season she gives main character energy. She really is the queen. She is the Black Widow. She came on the beach. I was really looking forward to an alliance with her and Rob. And so early on, I was getting kind of like butterflies in my belly, seeing those two interact, seeing Parvati tell Rob about the Deal or No Deal Island secret with David. It got me excited. And then to see that take an absolute left turn kind of broke my heart in a sense, but Rob really fumbled the bag on that one. I get Parvati's biggest threat, but at that point, she's super well connected. And Rob clearly did not have everybody on his side in the way he thought he did. I have not seen how he played in South Africa, but from what I've been told it was a very cult-like following. And I don't know if that's what he was expecting coming into this season, but he should know all-stars of this caliber are not going to be sheep-like in the way the players were that he played with before. Yeah, super devastated that Rob went home. Not really devastated, just I was hoping he would be better. I was hoping for a Parvati and Rob alliance. I was hoping that they could be, actually predicted them to be one of the duos of the season. I also predicted Lisa and Cirie to be one of our duos in the season. Early on, it seems like I'm hitting 50-50, so I guess only time will tell. But yes, it was super exciting to see Parvati. She was really running the beach like she had never left. Let's not forget the last time she was in Samoa was on her Heroes vs. Villains, and she got second place. So maybe it's she's taken over her territory once again. My next takeaway is just watching JLP with an added sense of appreciation. For those who don't know, this is JLP, the host last season of Australian Survivor, and it's super bittersweet. I am glad he's getting to go out in an epic showdown of Australia versus the world. I just think, like, what if he was cast for one more season and it was less than stellar? At the very least, I'm glad he's getting to go out in epic fashion. Although watching him host, like I said, it's a little bittersweet. JLP is quite literally my favorite host of all time. And I'm not just saying that to glaze him. I'm not saying that because it is trendy or cool. I think he adds a lot of character and unique charisma to the show. He has a good back and forth dialogue with the contestants. And so seeing him for one last season, while I wish we could keep him around forever, it is nice that we get one last hoorah. All right, back on the pessimistic train. George really has no frickin' shot. Shawnee doesn't want to work with him. Luke and Dave have no interest in working with him. They're really just playing with him. It's kind of like a lion playing with their food. They're just watching the chicken run around, and when they get hungry, they're going to eat him. They're giving him a false sense of security, and I don't know how he comes out of it. I said this in my prediction video. I don't have high hopes for George, and then watching the first episode really echoes that. Unless he can find a hidden immunity idol. I mean, he's done it many times before. He's slippery. He is a weasel. He could bounce back, but early on, if they go to next tribal, I don't think he has a shot. I mean, genuinely, honestly, Dave and Luke are way too well connected. They have Janine. They have Sarah. Shawnee's going to slip in their back pocket. I don't see Kirby being willing to, usurp anything in the sense that she's going to save George. Yeah, I just think the dude has no shot, unfortunately, which I'm hoping we can get him for as long as we can. He is great TV, and I personally love seeing George every season. I was actually like super not into George on his first seasons of Brain versus Brawn. But I think, just like most fans, I've come around on him a lot. Dude loves the game, and I love to watch him play. My next takeaway is I wish we could have seen more from Cass and Tommy. And maybe this is my ignorance or me being naive, but I do wonder, with English being their second language, how they will fare with some of the, I guess you could say, cutthroat or cerebral players around them. Not to say that they are, what's the word I'm looking for? Not to diminish them as a player in any way, but I just wonder how some of the language barriers might come into place, if there are any at all. With that being said, I wish we could have gotten more content from Cass or from Tommy. Why did they want to side with Parvati and the USA alliance? We know why Lisa did, but why did those two? Hopefully we can get more from them. I know how Australian Survivor is. There's always a couple people who get purpled, in a sense. But with a cast of 14, I mean, this episode was an hour and a half. Especially with them both going to Tribal Council on the World Tribe, I was hoping we could have seen a little bit more out of them, even if it was just like smaller camp life stuff. We got a little more from Cass than we did Tommy, I feel. I've already touched on the Cirie and Lisa duo a little bit. I did predict them coming into the season to be a duo. I know Lisa had mentioned Cirie as her favorite player on her original season in New Zealand. And I just loved watching Lisa be a fan. I mean, it felt like I was watching myself if I was on the island. If I were to play the game with a Malcolm or a Tony or a Rupert, you know, the boy in me is going to come out, and I don't give a damn about the strategy. I'm going to be attached at the hip with those gentlemen. And that's kind of like what we saw from Lisa. She's battling the head versus the heart. The head might tell her one thing, but the heart is telling her, I love this woman. I've seen her on my TV for 20 years. I want to work with her. And I'm hoping this can be a power duo in the season. I have a lot of high hopes for Lisa. Actually, coming out of this first episode, she is my favorite, and she is the person that I am rooting for the most. On the flip side of that, we have Kirby, who I know Kirby wasn't a huge Survivor fan or really a Survivor fan at all, but hearing her tell JLP that she had no idea who the people were standing across from the mat from her, one, I just thought, sister, did you not do your freaking research? I mean, you could have at least Googled Parvati or Cirie. I mean, they had to have some sense of who they were going up against. And so for her to sit there and say, I don't know who the hell these guys are. I don't know Tony Vlachos. I don't know Rob Bentley, which is fair in a sense. But not knowing Parvati, Cirie, it kind of blew my mind a little bit. And I hope it doesn't come back to bite her, but I fear that it might. All right, I'm going to wrap up this takeaway video with Rob Bentley. Rob, absolutely, he was not what I was expecting. I genuinely thought he and Parvati could get together early and run this game. I really did. I thought Rob and Parvati, and then on the flip side of that, working together would be Lisa and Cirie. Like I said, I'm hitting 50-50, so I'll take it, I guess. Early on, prior to the immunity challenge, seeing Parvati try to connect with Rob. You know, they had like the little flirty thing about the blue eyes, and oh, you know, you pull me in with those eyes. It really, I felt like something special was about to happen. And then Parvati telling Rob about the Deal or No Deal Island 2. I thought something was cooking. I really did. And then for Rob Bentley just to absolutely shit the bed. I feel like he had everything in front of him. He was just so hell-bent on being anti-U.S., which I understand in a sense. But the national lines are only going to get you so far. Do I see Tony, Cirie, and Parvati being the final three? Absolutely not. Do I see a world where they turn against each other? Absolutely, I do. So I don't know why he was so hell-bent on anti-U.S., anti-U.S., anti-U.S. In my opinion, he should have grabbed Lisa. He should have used his charm, connected with Parvati. There seemed to be something there early. And maybe it's the edit just fooling my perception. But I really thought there was something could have been there with he and Parvati. But he did not play a good game. If this is your first impression of Rob, it did not do him any due diligence for how great of a player he is. My favorite moment of the episode was Rob throwing Parvati under the bus at the first tribal council. Watching Parvati's reaction when Rob Bentley told everybody about her relationship with David, you would have thought she shit a brick. Which she is very good at navigating things like that. Obviously, she has been on reality television for 20 years since she was a young woman. But seeing the look on her face and then realizing Cerise might be having second thoughts or Tony might be having second thoughts. He blew up the game, yes, but I wonder how much of that is going to trickle into the remaining part of the season. Is Cerise going to have hesitations now? Is she going to be nervous going into the merge with a possibility of David and Parvati? They work together very strongly in Micronesia, but Cerise wants to win. And so I don't see any world where she's just going to say, okay, I'll go along with your plan. I'm curious how the Deal or No Deal Island bombshell is going to affect the remainder of the game. So there you have it. My takeaways for the first episode of Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World. This season is going to be quick. The season is going to be fast. We only have 3 weeks of Australian Survivor, Australia versus the World. So I wanted to get on here to discuss the fallout of the first episode and what I thought of the Rob Bentley collapse. If you haven't already, please like the video, subscribe to the channel for more weekly Survivor content, and until next time, the tribe has spoken.